The payment amount was 9.75, hit the tab key, the check number, and I wrote down the check number. It was 54154. Dispersal method, we can do oldest to newest, that way you don't have to type in anything. So my amount remaining is down to 0. That's excellent. Data service will skip, and then I have to remember the deposit date, which was today, so I'll double click on that. If you don't have the correct deposit date, you click OK, it'll warn you, it'll say, look, you need the correct deposit date. And then what you want to do finally is to type in a note here that this payment is a repost from the name of John Adams. So, and then once you're done, go ahead and click OK. Now, you may still get a warning here, and it tells me, it says, look, the deposit date should reflect that when the payment was originally posted. So if it was originally posted like you saw there on April 19th, and like I say, my office key, I've got repostings going all over the place for these demonstrations. So I'm going to continue with this and click OK. And then I can come back here to my History tab, and of course go right to that data service, to that charge, expand it. There's my $9.75. So let's go back to Adams as our example here by typing his name up here and hitting the tab key, his last name. And next, on the Transaction Entry tab, we're going to hit it hard now by clicking on the Payment button. And what we want to focus on next is the insurance payment. Now, the unapplied insurance is the same as posting an unapplied patient, the same step, and also a reposting of the insurance payment that was incorrectly posted to another account. So the only thing I want to show you different in this final example here for the payment entry is going to be by insurance. Notice a few little changes up at the top, but right at the bottom, all the buttons are the same except for the insurance. If you click on the insurance, it will pull up the insurance tab, which you can see down below here that's hiding behind this screen for you up here. So you can view their insurance. And the reason why it does that is because, again, if you wanted to look at it, you'd have to click cancel or click OK and post whatever you have up here to get to the insurance tab. So this makes it nice so I don't have to close out of this screen. So up at the top we have the payment source insurance. It tells me over here what coverage he has. So far he just has one. It's primary Blue Cross Blue Shield. If he had a secondary, it would be listed down below, and you can arrow up or down if he had more than two here. Next is the payment code. Again, you can click on the button PI is for payment insurance, and then we can go and enter in the total amount to be paid. Now, before I do this, it might be helpful to first pull up the data service or visit that they're tied to, because anytime you select insurance in this screen in the patient demographics, it's not going to pull up the data service automatically for you like it would with the patient here. See? So we go back to insurance. And instead what we can do is come down here and click on the ellipsis button for the data service or visit number. You could type it in, but to me it's easier to click the button. And it lists all the different dates of services and visits down below. Now you can either click on one, and the one that I want to post a payment that I'm pretending I got a payment from Blue Cross Blue Shield on is going to be for the visit number 79770, and that would be on the EOB. They call it the claim ID. Sometimes they don't call it anything at all, and sometimes they'll have a letter A at the end. So just knock off the A and that's your claim ID or visit number. Now you could double click on that and pull it up just for that, or if you want to pull it up for all, select episode, choose standard, and click OK. And episode means all of the outstanding balances that the insurance owes out on each data service here, and it's scrolled down below, and that's quite a bit. So I can go ahead and delete that, and again I can type in just that visit number or click on the ellipsis button and double click on this particular visit number or claim ID 79770. That's cleaner, especially if the carrier is only paying out on these two right here. What I want to do is I want to say that the insurance carrier is paying me $578 for this particular data service on this patient. So if I go, oh, of the $578, there's $20 that they're paying in interest because they took, I don't know, a year or 2 years to finally pay out on this patient here. And this is the only time I'll actually use a debit adjustment is when I'm posting interest, because it's easier to do that from this screen. And if you want to understand why or why not I don't use the debit adjustment, you want to watch the debit adjustment training video. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this first here before I do anything else. And the first thing you'll notice is that it's going to be doing a debit adjustment by visit number, the data service. So it's going to be tied specifically to this. And then I can use my debit adjustment code interest. I can either type it in or click on the ellipsis button, and there's my interest, and double click on it. And then the only question I have, like I did in the quick pay video if you watched that one, is the interest going to be posted as a debit adjustment code debit adjustment or a debit adjustment as a charge? And really quick, I'm going to click cancel, go to master files, to transaction codes, to debit adjustment codes, And there's the difference between the two, but I just need to pull up the code here to find out which one it's defaulted on. There's my interest, double click on it, and it's going to be posting as a charge. And again, how do you want to display it on the report? Do you want to display in the adjustment column with the write-offs that shows as positive, and any debit adjustments here would be as negatives? To me, that doesn't work for my office, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say it's going to be a charge, and it's going to show up as a positive in the charge column along with my other charges. So be sure to save my work, close out, and then come back and click on the debit adjustment button. Go ahead and click the ellipsis button. It's interest, and the total amount again was $20. I'll hit the tab key, and then you can type a note down below. And of course, always a happy face. And then, do you really want to include this on the patient statement? I say no for me, because that's just between the insurance carrier and I. So I'll click OK. And then give it a few seconds, because after you click OK, it automatically adds the charge down below of $20. So next, we've got a check. We can type in the check number from Blue Cross Blue Shield, whatever that is. And then we can disperse this either manually. I'm going to do it manually because there's a few things I want to explain as we're posting this payment that's very important, especially for patients who have secondary insurance coverage. And let me finish this off. So there's the date of service. That's fine. When are we going to deposit this? Say it's next Tuesday. Double click on it. Any notes that we want to add to the patient, I'm basically going to skip that, and I'm going to go right to the first one here. By default, the allowed amount will always reflect what the charge is if you don't have your allowed fee schedule set up for Blue Cross Blue Shield. In fact, you may have it set up, and you may actually have the same allowed amount as the charge, and that's fine. If you don't, then you want to go to Master Files, to Fee Schedules, pull up your Blue Cross allowed amount fee schedule. Be sure to select the begin end date so you can get the details of it. And then once you get the details of it, and then go ahead and look through all your charge codes here and make sure you have the correct fees tied to them. If not, go ahead and type in a charge code, hit the tab key, and type in the fee. When you're done, you'll click OK. And so that's how you'll update that. You want to watch the fee schedule training video, but there's a synopsis and overall view of it again. Now, having said that, you can make changes here. You could say that the allowed amount is $200. You just type over it, and it's a one-time thing. And remember that you want to update your fee schedules if you want it to be permanent. So in other words, next time you post a payment after you update your fee schedules, it won't say $273. It will reflect, if I said it was now $300, it will reflect that instead. So I'm going to say here that of the $578 that's remaining, that the insurance carrier on the EOB said that they're paying out $258, the actual insurance portion here, and hit the tab key. Now once I hit the tab key, you've got a box here. It's called the payment reason code box. This is the why of the payment from the patient or the insurance carrier, in this case, to add to the patient's date of service when we're posting payments like we're doing now. And it's going to appear on the statements, secondary electronic claims, not paper claims, but only electronic claims going out as secondaries, the collections and denial tracking modules, your electronic remittance advice, or ERA, and your payment reason reports. So for example, going to reports, down to financial totals, to your payment reason detail or summary. As with anything, more information that you have or more detail is always good. Now let me click on this box here and let me show you the codes, the default ANSI codes that AdvancedMD has created unless you watch the training video and set up your own payment reason codes. Here's the reason code button down below. And you can see all the codes in here. In fact, there's 3 types of codes. You have the CR codes, which is the correction and reversal codes of a claim if it's denied because the patient can't be identified as the insurance carrier's insured. Then you have the CO codes, the contractual obligations, for example, like your charges is exceeding their allowed amounts. And then also your PR codes for patient responsibility, like a copay. Now these are the standard ANSI codes that AdvancedMD uses. You can always click Add New and create your own, but let me explain it this way. The reason why you want to use the ANSI default standard codes, if you're going to use them anyways, is because the defaults are the only ones that will go out on the secondary electronic claims. If you create your own, forget it, they won't go out on them. And the reason why you want them to go out on the secondary electronic claims is because when the carrier gets these claims and is going to pay out on them, they'll see what the primary carrier has paid out because you use these codes and identified by the descriptions. So once they see that, they'll go, oh, the primary carrier paid this, or deductible wasn't met, and be able to pay that out faster, which is always good. You don't have to use them. The second thing is that if you use your own codes, you create one and you just type it in and you use it and you add it up here and you click OK, AdvancedMD is going to give you a warning every time because they want to help out, make sure you get paid out as fast as you can by using these codes. So